Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today I have a couple of games from the AMX 1390. This is the largest gun on the AMX 13 chassis. It's the 7.0 and it only fires heat FS. Other than that, it's pretty much the exact same as the previous models. Still a 12-shot autoloader with a 45-second clip reload after you've expended your shells. And you still get the scouting mechanics. Still, yep, still the same. Rather poor mobility for a light tank, I have to say. But I'm here on Normandy, and it's probably not the best map to be using a scout. But I was having a bit of a session with this, and I really wanted to drive it out. So I do actually have the speed, I think, to make it to the monument. Yeah, as everyone knows, my preferred position on this map, but I don't really think I've got the firepower or certainly the armor to stay there, and quite possibly not even the height to see over it. So instead, just coming down behind this bunker to try and check for anything pushing up the beach. M18 there trying to make a quick rush, so get a shot into the front of him, and heat FS auto hull brakes, so he's already out. There was no cap there, so he shouldn't have any free spawn points. Maybe enough for an anti-aircraft, given that his tank was a bit overly cheap. So nothing else seems to be moving up, but I don't want to push up too soon. I don't really have the most intimidating gun to prevent people from trying to push me. It's not got great post-pen damage, and I'm still not entirely sure what's over there, so for now I'm just holding position and trying to make use of my spotting mechanic if I get a chance. Tilting the camera to look through the gap in that bunker there. I can just see there's nothing on the opposite seawall right now. There is something down on the beach though, which I didn't see get there, but it's FE402, so minimal damage. But he's out. T-44 finished him off. So I'm just kind of stalling, waiting for a good opening or someone to push up with, like this 268 is going. So that's a decent companion for me to push up with. He's got a lot of firepower. He's quite likely to scare the opponents away, and if he does get rushed, I've got the rate of fire to at least try and help him out, prevent people from getting around his flank. Nothing on the seawall, and he seems to be quite clear, so time to push up and join him. It might not always be the best thing in the world to use your teammates as a sort of spotting bait like that, but when you're in a light tank like this, you don't really have too many other options. Obviously I could have taken the light tank far into the south, but we've already got 4 players out there, and I don't generally tend to find there's much out there to do anyway. So I'm just going to move up with this 268, try and work in tandem. He's pushed a little further in than I'd like, he's not really got any cover, so just double check there's nothing at the monument behind me, and then try and give him at least a little bit of fire support. As I said, not the most damaging of shells these. Good penetration, but yeah, minimal damage. So we know there's something on the other side of that wall. You can just see the engine smoke, so tag it with the scouting, make sure we know where he is at all times, and just take a quick shot through the turret roof when he pokes out there. So he's down to 2 crew. If I had more speed, I could potentially have rushed him there, try and finish him off before he gets his reload, but the 1390 is not particularly mobile for a light tank. T95 was taken out by artillery. It's just the Carnarvon now, which the 268 is trying to push. It's a bit risky for him, given he doesn't have a turret, although I understand why. Obviously the Carnarvon was unlikely to ever push up himself, and we're now losing the cap. But as long as that Carnarvon's there, I can't really push up for danger of getting shot in the back. So So just see if I can try and lend a bit of fire to the cap. Only the loader, unfortunately, and now the 268's been taken out, so I'm in a bit of a bind. I've got some problems here. I'm pushed quite far up in enemy territory all on my own. Well, not really enemy territory, but I'm on their side of the cap. I don't have anyone near me. In fact, the nearest things are a couple of anti-aircraft, and I know that there's at least 2 tanks up here. There's a Cheeto, and then there's still this Carnarvon. Now, that was a bit risky, trying to peek for the spot there with this Cheeto, as he might have seen my transmission just poke around the corner, but doesn't seem to have spotted me, so bit of a bad first shot placement into his engine, but it's enough. I can reload before he gets his turret around, and we'll just finish him off. That's 3 shots, more than I probably should have had. But yeah, it's unlikely to be 1 unless you get an ammo rack. Just about to see the Carnarvon trying to peek. Not enough to get a shot though. And of course, he'd really like me to take one and bait him like that. It's unlikely that it would do anything given the position on his turret that I had available to me. But he's got a stabilizer, he's already aimed, and yeah, it's just not a good position for me to peek on him. So I'm just waiting, hoping he makes a mistake really. ZSU 37 pushing along under the seawall there. We've managed to get the cap back. I'm not really having the largest effect on this battle. I'm trying to keep any targets I see marked up whenever I can, but for the most part I am eliminated from the battle at this point. There's nothing I can really do other than bide my time, and in the meantime my team is taking losses and I'm just not really helping. But the only alternative is to simply push out and try and kill him, which is likely to result in my death and therefore make the situation even worse. So for the moment this is the best thing I can do. Now he clearly knows I'm here, I know he's there, and I can scout him, although I managed to miss with that one. You can scout through objects, but yeah, you still need to be fairly precise. So he's starting to push up, but I'm a bit concerned I'm not going to be able to get a shot on him. I don't really have any idea at this point for how best to play it. Fortunately, he sticks his transmission out a little too far, and so now I can eliminate him by just setting him on fire. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have FPE, so I didn't have to cause multiple. Let's just let him burn. There we go. I can finally try and get myself back into the game and help my team a little more. There's a Conqueror headed towards me, which I'm not overly fond of meeting. So, I don't know if he knows I'm here. My intent is to just kind of hide a bit down the slope and see where he goes. But Ventor manages to take him out with some rockets from the SU-6. And so we can start trying to get on that cap again. Double check it's all safe in every direction before I move up. That's the ZSU, so no danger that way. And I can finally get into a better spot than sitting at the bottom of that slope. At least somewhere that can see the cap. ZSU is on fire though, which isn't really filling me with confidence. There's a Vickers just taking him out. So I'm back into a kind of holding pattern here, and there's just, for this entire battle really, a lot of sitting and trying to be patient, trying to keep my eyes out. It's a light tank in an urban environment, and not one with a massive amount of flanking potential, so there's not a great deal I can really do. Again, probably not the best vehicle for this in general. So, just holding and waiting for the enemy to come to me. It's not great, they have the cap, I can't really afford to do it, but I've no idea where this Vickers has gone. And again, just getting myself killed just for a momentary decap, which then they will retake because there's no one nearby to stop them, doesn't really achieve anything. There will come a point where I have to take the risk. You know, when the tickets get too low, I have to go in there, I have to do it. But for now, knowing that Vickers is likely just around the corner, I really feel like it's the bad play. Giving them spawn points for both my death and taking the cap, I'm not confident that I can beat them in the firefight, especially when I don't know where they are. So I'm holding steady, and someone else has come in and got the cap from a safer direction. Some games, I think, just go like this. I often come at the end of them feeling, did I do my part? And for this one, I don't think I really did. I did the best I could do with the situation, but that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, I've done all I could. Maybe I just need to take more risks. Something as a player that I need to work on. So looking in the battle log there, we can see an Ontos has set the Ostwind on fire, who is very close to me, and has also just killed a ZSU-37 off to the southeast. So I know he's likely to be coming from the east side. I'm not a particular fan of meeting them. It's a very niche vehicle, not one I really like to touch at all myself. But it is a pain to meet because you know it will just keep firing. So I'm trying to keep an eye out for him, and gonna choose to point my gun off to the east. I should be able to see anything coming around from the west before it gets to a point where I need to turn my gun back. See there, just double checking there's nothing around the corner still. And then let's go back to looking for this Ontos. There he is. It wasn't him that killed the Ostwind, but it was just very good timing for him to appear. And there's one coming along the seawall now. It's a Conqueror, so I'll mark him up. And he's got an STA behind him as well. I was waiting for him to drive outside on, but the STA really kind of got in the way of that. Still, I've got a spot on him. We know where he is. Everyone knows where he's going. Now I screwed up here. Should have really had this STA at that point, but messed with my directions and forgetting which way I was facing, pressed forwards instead of backwards and drove myself further into cover. So I'm just watching the chevron, see which way he's going to go. Check for the Conqueror, and there's the STA, so very slim shot, but just enough to finish him off. And now sit and wait for the long reload. Unfortunately, knowing that Ventor is currently engaging the Conqueror, and there's nothing I can do to help him. He's got his engine and turret, they're both on repair. So I'm pretty safe now that I can sit and wait. Feel a little scummy about this, but Vent said kill him, so just make sure he dies as quickly as possible really. There we go. One shot into his lower plate and finish him off. So we're pretty safe at this stage, and the battle's just about over. So we'll move on to battle number 2. This is Mozdok, and I'm out in the south, having flanked quite a far way around. Nothing really happened up to this point for me. A lot of tagging with scouting and watching round after round get absorbed by a T-95's ammo racks without any sort of detonation. It was really a very late start in this battle for me. And I've probably encountered one of the worst potential targets at this stage. It was Super Pershing, who I cannot get heat FS through all of that spaced armour, so yeah, it's a bit awkward. Fortunately, there is a Foch on the hill behind me, and I'm just continuing with tagging really. It's the best thing I can do. Just mark up opponents and let someone with a bigger gun deal with it. To be honest, it's quite typical of the French light tanks. I do like all three of the AMX 13s that I've played, but certainly there is a lot of the time where you just have to sort of sit, scout, let someone else do the job. The guns don't have the most punch to them. If you can get an enemy isolated and on the flank, then you've certainly got the rate of fire. You can whittle them down quite quickly, but you don't really want to be engaging anything that's got a good chance of firing back at you. It's just a real recipe for disaster, that. So for the moment I'm trying to stay hidden and just tag things up for other players to get rid of. See, Super Pershing over there, just tagged him as well. Another one there. Just there. Ho reproduction, just cresting the hill. So I know A isn't quite secure. A little bit of damage to him, not really enough. He's just going to slip away. But while he's backed off a little bit and the STRV has popped smoke, it's my time to move in. Go for the flank undercover a bit. Down into the ditch around the river. So we're not doing particularly well right now, and we've got a lot of planes up. 5 actually. There's no real map control for us. Not really that I've been helping that, but it's better late than never. Sort of that's really been it with these two games for me here. It was trying to be patient, look for the opening, but often just taking that patience a little too far. Yeah, there is such a thing as being overly cautious, and every tank has got a certain balance, every game has got a certain balance. It's just working out the right time for it. So I've worked my way around, get rid of that STRV. He's been effectively sitting on A the whole game, just constantly replenishing his rockets. I think mostly trying to get rid of that Foch in the south. I know there's a Ho-Ri nearby. I've knocked out the breach on the M103 at B. Didn't notice, unfortunately, someone asking me in chat there, because I was so focused on trying to get rid of this Ho-Ri. Really the best damage for these shots, but there we go. He's out. Missed the tag on the M26, but he's down anyway, so time to move up and finally put myself in the game properly. I've had a quick flurry of kills, but we are losing on caps, so it's off. Decap A and then push up towards B. Again, I'm not really someone... Well, I'm not in a tank, certainly, that wants to be trying to make frontal engagements, so sitting at A is not going to go too well for me right now. But we've got a few players back on the ground, so let's hope we can pincer B a little. That's T95 from earlier. Still no gun depression to really take a shot at him there, but he's been bombed anyway. I feel his pain every time, but M103 at B's just been taken out by the Foch now. I was quite lucky to survive some of the bombs this game. Certainly they were not causing as much damage as they have in previous ones, while probably being closer they must have just been smaller. But I've got A decapped. The Foch is also moving in, so unfortunately no trip to B for me. Thankfully with the A decap it's not going to come into much of a problem with tickets. I can afford to sit here and repair. in a slight hurry. Obviously, you never want to wait around too long, but it's not going to cost us the game. We've got other people moving into B. There is a tank there that they've not noticed, so mark him up quickly, call him out, and he's down, thankfully. They've retaken A, but not before we got the decap on B, so no ticket loss. And yeah, it's time for me to go back and see if I can harass them at A with this Foch. So, just tag up the Bulldog in case no one's seen him. Take the shot. Actually, only redded the ammo rack there, but still managed to blow it up, and FV4W5 leaving their spawn as well. So, first one, get his breach. I was actually hoping to hit the ammo racks in the side of the turret, but thankfully he was nice enough to J out, assuming he was dead, because that was the last shell in my clip. I wouldn't have been able to finish him. Did lose the Foch over at A, so need to be a little bit cautious about this, especially as I don't currently have any shells in my gun, but yeah, should be alright. There's another Bulldog in the spawn, so tag him up again. Back off. I'm not going to get the gun depression, but he's already down, so yeah, it's pretty much just cleaning up at this stage and waiting for the tickets to drop. Now, if I got one sort of real takeaway from watching back over these two games, it's just I was a little overly patient. The 1390s, I found it a bit of an odd one to sort of get used to. You don't really have the mobility of a standard light tank, and without APHE you certainly don't have the ability to sort of do drive-by one-shots like you do with the Type 62. The gun can put out some punishment, but as evidenced with, well, I didn't include that in the video, but the T95, I hit his ammo rack 8 times without any detonation, so it's not something I would try and rely on personally. But then the Bulldog also got ammo rack straight away, so maybe not. But yeah, I'm being a little, maybe too cautious, getting myself into situations where I don't really have an out and I just have to sit and sort of wait for the opponent to make a mistake. It very almost, well, it could have cost us in both these battles. My reluctancy to push in. In hindsight it worked out, but who knows, maybe in Normandy one of those tanks would have been in a slightly different position and we wouldn't have got the cap back. Maybe here I might have run into danger of someone lurking around the B cap. I can't say, but I certainly think in future I need to be a bit more proactive, a bit less scouting, a bit more harassment. But yeah, overall I find it's an enjoyable tank. 7.0 does mostly see up tiers, so it's probably just going to end up being a backup to the 7.7 lineup, as are most things around this BR, but it was enjoyable nonetheless. So I'm just going to call it the end there. I am currently on a bit of a break from War Thunder. This is just using the clips I've got lying around from the past week. I'm kind of a little tired of things again. It happens. I am thinking of maybe changing the way I'm doing videos as well. If anyone has any suggestions, please feel free. And I might do things a bit differently with this stream as well to try and reduce some of the frustration there. Maybe drop the schedule and only play when I can find a squad mate to try and retain my sanity a bit. But yeah, that's all for now. Sorry to leave it on a bit of a negative note there, but I hope other than that you've enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.